Hello, welcome to our second part of the overview on ITSM value streams. First of all, let's make a recapitulation of what are the ITSM value streams about and why we think that they are useful in this field. So what we saw last time is that the ITSM value stream can address different impediments that in fact prevent the IT to work properly or to be a valuable partner for the business. One of them is the valuable opportunities impediment. So what we saw from last time is that if we have, and this is one of the goals of IT, to define valuable opportunities, where business management inform about technologies, where we continually assess cost and risk related to IT products and services, there are a couple of impediments that you can see here in that slide. And the ITSM value stream can contribute in addressing them by getting the right stakeholder involved, keeping an option or options to deliver this valuable opportunity open as long as possible, have a mechanism to review the decision regularly and minimize the value leakage. Another impediments, type of impediments that we saw in our previous part was about the goal on deliver service components quickly. And in that case, the ITSM value stream contribution is about high velocity, time to market, and adoption of lean thinking to limit waste that can occur. Impediments regarding the minimized technical descriptions can be addressed by a value stream in the way that we have, first of all, to agree that in the definition of done, there will be some criteria related to the unrestricted operations, that we have an acceptable amount of technical depth, otherwise we will redo things and in fact not really create value. And of course, we need to coordinate the effort of the team that develops the product. So it's about version control tool sharing. Another area where the value streams can really address impediments is about the goals of optimize the total cost of ownership and the total cost of consumption. So in that case, in order to be sure that we are aligned with what the customer wants in terms of prices for the services, we need to have loops that allows us to have regular feedback from the stakeholders and especially from the customers. We also need to have a proactive approach to cost-efficient services, and we need that business analysis and architecture management work as a tandem. All that can be achieved within one or more value streams. And the last area where we see, in fact, that value stream can really address some impediments, it addresses impediments that prevent facilitating service delivery and consumption, because that's where, in fact, we realize value. In order to do that, the value stream can help identifying the roles and that monitors the patterns of business activities, so to have a good understanding of how our customers and users operate and what service they consume when. Identify the reason for non or partial use of services. That's also a very important part. And having some fair win-win agreement between service provider and service consumer. So that's the idea of where value streams can really contribute. So now we know that why we can have some ITSM value stream. Let's dive into the value streams themselves and how we can build value stream, because this is, I think, the main questions you ask yourself. So for us, first, let's have a look at the definition. there is one ISO standard that describes what value stream is. And this is the ISO 22468 that was published in 2020. And as you see, the definition is that a value stream is all processes oriented at customer demand that is in particular product and information flows. Okay, so we see that it is triggered by a demand from a customer. It is for a customer, and in fact, it involves products, services, and of course, information flow. If we look at the main characteristic of value streams, okay, value streams, what we can say, value streams support transparency. So transparency is the basic for any collaboration, any trust between any person. And what does that mean? It means that a value stream is cross-functional. When we think about cross-functionality, it's not only about cross-functionality across different departments of the service provider, but it's mainly about cross-functionality between business and IT. We talk about end-to-end processes. So we talk about processes, a real value stream of activities, okay, where in fact you don't just focus on one part, but where all the activities are performed to really address the initial demand that you receive and to create the best possible value at the end of the value stream. That's what we mean by end-to-end processes. Value stream as processes is a matter of continual improvement, okay? And as I said previously, when we talk about transparency, we talk about a prerequisite for collaboration and communication. And that's the key. In an ITSM value stream, people collaborate, share the same goal, and have some information flow that help them to communicate. So these are the main characteristics of the value streams. And that leads to the value stream thinking. Okay, we said that value stream is about transparency, and value stream is a way of thinking. It's a value stream thinking. So it means it's about techniques that you can use to apply the characteristic of a value stream. If we want to be concrete, if we want to see, for instance, how we can be more cross-functional, we can use the RACI matrix. We can use what I call the business alignment swarming. So that means that regularly we look at the different business cases we have or the performance of the services we get, and we see if we are still aligned with the business outcomes. From the characteristic called end-to-end processes to create value, we can use other supporting services, the goals cascading, the value stream mapping, which is a technique that exists a long time ago now. And from continuous improvement, we can use the lean, for instance, downtime to identify the sources of waste. And last but not least, in order to support collaboration and communication, obviously we can use some techniques related to visual management, Kanban, or how we can share the vision. So that means the value that we expect as an output from the value stream. So you see, when we talk about value stream thinking, in fact, we don't talk about a philosophy. We talk about some techniques that can really support each characteristic of a value stream. Now, let's see how we can, in very simple steps, create a value stream. Here you have an approach with 10 steps. So the first thing to do is you have some steps related to the value stream mapping. The value stream mapping means first, you identify the demand and you define the outcome, so the input, in fact, and the output of your value stream. Then you define the critical success factors and the KPI to be sure that you can measure to which extent you reach, in fact, your target. Then you define the activities. Once you do that, you come to another phase, which is, in fact, modeling the value stream. And when you model the value stream, that's where you need to have more information about the ITSM processes. Because imagine that you have some different activities with input and output, step 4. And from these activities, what you do is that you say, okay, from these activities, what can be the ITSM processes that can be useful for me? So if you have already some framework, some ITSM processes like incident management, like service level management, and so on, you will try to find out how these processes can really help me in some of these activities I have in my value stream to standardize this value stream. Then you assign roles to this activity and you document it. So you have a model that describes your value stream. Once you have that, you need this model to be actionable. So you describe these activities as processes and interfaces between them. And at the end of the day, from these processes, you derive procedures and working instructions. So you see, you have 10 steps that you can use, divided into 3 main times: value stream mapping, value stream modeling, process modeling, and procedures and working instruction. And just an example of how we can, let's have an high-level description of a value stream. You can see it here. We have a demand on opportunity, for instance, for potential value. So we have an idea and we don't know, or we want to assess what kind of value this idea for a new service or a new product can bring. We qualify it, so it's a main activity. We identify the options, we build a business case, and we refine the business case. So here what I say is that you have the demand defined at the beginning, which is the opportunity, and the outcome from the business, from the value stream, is the detailed business case. And you have a set of activities that leads to this outcome. And after applying all these steps, 10 steps that I defined earlier, what you can do is that you can end up with a result like this one, where you have from the customer the demand for a new product or opportunity for a new product or service. You have the different activities I was talking about: qualify an idea, identify options, build a business case, refine a business case. You also say how many person is involved in this activity or roles. And then you say, okay, which process, ITSM process, can I use in order to take inspiration for these specific activities? And you see, we have some of them. For each activities, you define the CSF, the critical success factor, and the KPI. And you have a way to measure, in fact, the performance of your value stream. That ends with a detailed business case for the customer. So by applying this technique or this approach, you can build a full value stream. And I thank you for your attention.